Hi guys, I'm back as promised to show you my new homemade laundry system. This is a little different than some of the other systems you're going to see on the internet. I did a lot of research, saw a lot of videos about different systems people used, saw some things that were really great ideas and some other things that needed some improvement. And so, with all those ideas, I combined them together, added a few things of my own, and this is what I came up with. Um, like all of my other urban homesteading ideas, this does not require electricity at all. But that means it is human powered. You are going to have to put a little effort into it. But you will find this system uses a lot less effort and arm power than some of the other systems you're going to see. So I think you're actually going to like it. It does get clothes really clean. One of the biggest challenges that I have when I'm washing clothes by hand is I wear black tank tops underneath all my work shirts, and I really have a hard time getting the deodorant out of those shirts. And so, one of the first things that I did to test this system was I took a black tank top and I smeared white stick deodorant all over it and threw it in, did a load, and there is no sign of deodorant at all on the shirt. So, absolutely love that. Most of the systems you're going to see are one bucket system. Mine is actually a 2 bucket system that I'm going to show you, and it actually does make a difference. The plunger system and the bucket system combined together make it so that it's a lot less work. Most of the systems you're going to see, you're going to have to actually work hard for about 10 to 20 minutes per cycle. That's the wash cycle and the rinse cycle. So by the time you're done, your hands and arms are going to be tired. However, with this system, I average about 3 minutes to wash, 3 minutes to rinse. Sometimes with like really dirty socks or other really grungy clothes, I might work the hand pump for about 4 minutes instead of 3 minutes, but still that's a lot better than the 10 to 20 minutes that you're going to see on a lot of other systems. So here goes. I do already have some laundry in here so that I can show you how it works, but I'm trying to get from this angle. It's a bucket system, plunge handle. There's a lid. Originally, I was thinking a Gamma Seal lid made sense only because they are airtight, watertight, and would do a great job at preventing splashing. However, I'm going to tell you with the 2 bucket system, you do not want to use a Gamma Seal lid. And the reason for that is that there's a thick ring that would be around the top of the bucket, and it would prevent you from sliding the 2 buckets into each other comfortably. So, Gamma Seal, more expensive, but you don't really need it. This really cheap lid was about $2 at Walmart. The plastic is thin enough that cutting the hole in the middle for the handle was super easy. And it actually hasn't had any problems at all with splashing so far. So I'd say so far so good. Don't buy the expensive stuff. You're actually better off using the cheap parts. 2 5-gallon buckets for the wash system. They just kind of slide into each other. You may be able to see here, it might be better off showing you once I pull the bucket out, but there's 1/4-inch holes here in the inner bucket, not the outer bucket. Obviously, that's a solid bucket. The inner bucket, I used a 1/4-inch titanium drill bit to put holes around the sides and bottom of the bucket. I choose to use a titanium bit whenever I work with plastic or PVC because I find that it works better, but that's not necessary. You can use whatever drill bits you happen to have at home, whatever works for you. Now, you'll notice there's kind of a line here. There's a 3-inch gap from the bottom of the inner bucket to the bottom of the outer bucket. Now, I didn't do that on purpose. That's just how they happen to fit together, but it works great because, first of all, when you're agitating the water and it's splashing around, it really makes it bubble up more, but also the dirt has a habit of settling to the bottom of the outer bucket and staying away from your clothes that are in the inner bucket. So that works really good. All right, so let me kind of show you how this works. Inside of here, I don't have soap in it at the moment because I've already done the soap cycle. Right now we're on the rinse cycle. But I've got clothes and I've got water, and I'll show it to you in a second. But how you make it work is really simple. You grab the handle, pump up and down, kind of twist your hand a little bit, and it splashes the water around and agitates just like the electric agitator in an electric washing machine. Being a smaller container, it takes less effort, less movement, and a lot less water, which is actually a good thing. So I take the lid off and kind of show you how this works in here. Yeah, sorry about that with my nails. It's not as easy to pop the lid off, but here you go. There's your lid. Just a cheap plastic lid. Actually, I'm going to put that over here. Inside, you are going to see there is water. I fill it about usually 3/4 full. I did a little bit less just for the video. Laundry ball. This isn't necessary, but it is a huge help. I love this thing. So it actually does 2 things while you're washing your laundry. First of all, I shed a lot. I get my hair all over pretty much everything. And it's really frustrating every time I try to wash and dry my socks. There's always big pieces of hair stuck to it. So as you are agitating your laundry, any hair in the bucket is actually going to cling to this ball rather than clinging to your clothes, which is great. But also having it kind of fly around the bucket and bounce around while you're agitating the laundry helps to shake it up a bit more. It agitates the laundry more. You get more bubbles in the soap. So highly recommend this. I honestly don't remember how much they cost. I've had these for a while now, but there's a 2-pack. I want to say it was like $2 or $3 at Walmart. Here is where my system is very different than what you're going to see with other people who use a plunger system. First of all, let me just say this. Most of these supplies you can find sitting around your house. Please, please, please do not use a toilet plunger that you already have at home. Go out and buy a new one. This particular plunger was $3 at Walmart. Absolutely worth the investment. Okay. Now, here's what other people do that I did not do. Most of the systems you're going to see online, people are drilling about a 2 to 3 inch hole with a hole saw in each section of the plunger in order to make the water flow through better. They are then taking this plunger and they are putting it on the bottom of the bucket, not on top of the clothes, and then they're going to plunge up and down in order to agitate the water. And those 2 to 3 inch holes allow the water to flow through. It bubbles, it soaks, it shakes the water. Technically, in theory, that does work, but it doesn't work good enough for me. Those are the systems where you're going to have to pump like crazy for, 10 to 20 minutes to do a single rinse or a single wash. Not worth it. Also, by putting larger holes like that in your plunger, you're creating issues with the structural integrity. So you're going to be going out and buying a new plunger every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how much laundry you do. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So here's what I did that works better. Sorry, I'm one-handed and keep dropping things. I, using the same 1/4 inch drill bit that I used on the bucket, I went and put 2 small holes in each section of the plunger. Okay, 1/4 inch holes, not close enough to mess with the integrity of the plunger. They do not displace a huge amount of water, but they allow enough flow to go through that it does make it easier on my hand while I'm pumping. And what I'm doing is, instead of putting the plunger on the bottom of the bucket and actually using it as a plunger, I'm putting, once the laundry and the water is in, I get my ball in there, and then I put the plunger on top of the clothes. And then I would put the lid on to prevent splashing. However, just for the sake of doing this right now, I'm going to show you. I'm going to move it gently because I do not want it to splash back on my phone here. Okay, but I'm going to slam the plunger up and down on top of the clothes while rotating it left and right with my hand. Okay, now if there was soap in there right now, you'd see all kinds of bubbles bubbling up. If I was doing this really hard, you'd see water flying all over the place. But it's going to agitate just like the electric agitator inside a regular washing machine. So it works really good. And again, doing the plunger this way does make it a lot less work, makes it easier, makes it go faster, and you're not going to be out buying new plungers constantly. Okay. Now, for the sake of this video, I deliberately put some really dirty, nasty stuff in here. I've already done the wash cycle. This is the rinse cycle. Obviously, you saw me. I didn't rinse it very well, so this is not going to be the cleanest water when I do this. But in order to move on to the next step, take the handle of your bucket, pull the inner bucket out of the outer bucket. You're going to see there's water flowing out. Right, that's going to drain. Just move my shower head over a little so I have room for my second bucket. Yeah, you can see the water there is still a little bit dingy, but we were expecting that. Okay, I'm going to dump the outer bucket. Let the water out. Sorry, normally when I'm doing this, I would take the dryer system out of the tub, but for the sake of the video, I didn't do that today. So I've taken the outer bucket out. There's my inner bucket. And here's the reason you do not want that Gamma Seal lid. You're going to want to be able to put this outer bucket inside the inner bucket. Doesn't seem to do a whole lot at first glance, but as you push down on this bucket, the water is actually going to squeeze out of the clothes. It's putting pressure on it. So you're not wringing this by hand. You're not hurting your hand trying to do it. You can push down on the bucket. If you want to, you can even sit on the bucket, and that's going to squeeze it down even more. You just want to keep in mind that there is that 3-inch gap from the bottom bucket to the top bucket. So if you don't have at least 3 inches of clothes, it's not actually going to squeeze anything. Okay, so that's how that outer bucket works. I'm going to take that and set it aside just so it's out of the way for the moment. I can show you. There's my 1/4-inch holes on the side of the bucket and the bottom of the bucket. And that's going to be really helpful with getting a lot of the water out, which is something that's a huge challenge anytime you're washing laundry by hand. So onto the dryer system. Now this I could not find information about online, so I kind of made up my own thing here. There are other systems that are slightly easier to use. I used to have a bucket on a dowel attached to an exercise bike, a stationary bike. That worked amazingly well, but it's going to fling water everywhere. You're going to need a lot of space, and it was also expensive to set up because you need the exercise bike. This is actually really cheap. I already owned the smaller size bucket here, and the salad spinner I picked up at a local thrift store for, I want to say $3. So super easy. I'd also like to point out that I'm using a smaller bucket here that will actually fit into the larger 5-gallon bucket. And the reason for that is because if I decide to take this with me, I want to go camping, I'm ready to move, whatever it is I'm going to do, the entire system will fit inside the space of this 5-gallon bucket. So it's easy to carry, lightweight. Okay, so here's my system. I have taken a salad spinner. Right now I've got a set of socks in there so you can kind of see how it works. After I washed my socks, I tried to wring them out by hand the best I could. And then I put them in here. Let me show you. Well, here, I'll show you the bottom of the spinner first. So right here, you'll see that once again, I drilled 1/4-inch holes. I consistently stayed with 1/4-inch just because I was honestly lazy and didn't feel like changing the bit on my drill. But 1/4-inch I think is about the right size. I put holes on the bottom of the salad spinner for the water to drain out. There are no holes on the side. Okay, it's really important, do not put holes in the side of your salad spinner because when water starts flying inside the bowl, you don't want it to fly out and get wet. Okay, you want the water to go out the bottom. So what's going to happen is with the wet socks are going to be in the basket inside. You're going to turn the handle. It's going to spin. Centrifugal force is going to throw the water against the sides of the bowl. And you want the water to run down the side of the bowl and out the holes in the bottom. I've placed it on a bucket just because I want the water to run into the bucket. Honestly, I have also stood there and held it, but then you're going to get a little bit wet. Okay, and before I show you the inside, let me point out, well, I was going to lift it, but I already took the clips off. I'll show you the inside first, and then I'll show you the bucket. Okay, so here's what your salad spinner looks like. There's a little lid on top. Now, normally your laundry is going to be stuck to the sides of the bowl when you open this, but I just flipped it upside down. Show you my sock. This is barely damp. It feels incredibly dry. It used to be when I was trying to wring things out by hand, I could, when I'm done wringing them out, hang them on my laundry line to dry and leave them overnight. And the next morning I get ready to go to work and they're still wet. Then I have to use a blow dryer, and it defeats the whole point of being electricity free. So these are dry enough. I could hang these on my laundry line, and I bet that in less than an hour, you're not even going to notice any moisture at all. Okay, here's your inner yellow basket that spins, right? It spins when you crank the handle. And there's your holes that the water goes out. And you're going to think this probably doesn't do a whole lot, but check this out. That's the amount of water that I managed to spin out of my socks after I attempted to squeeze them. Socks have a habit of retaining a lot of water. So just those few socks, that much water. So yeah. Anyway, that's the system. I want to show you a few tips and tricks here really quick. First of all, I'm going to point out that the next thing I'm going to fix is the handle. So this really long handle right here, I'm going to attach to the plunger instead of the short plastic handle. I think that's going to take a lot less arm muscle to do laundry. But honestly, this system doesn't take a whole lot of effort anyway, so that hasn't been a priority. Haven't got to it yet. I am going to highly recommend, if you don't have it, and that you go out and get a shower head that's actually on a hose. This comes in handy because, first of all, your spigot for the bathtub is not as tall as your 5-gallon bucket. So getting water from the spigot to the bucket could be an issue. Installing one of these shower heads is actually really cheap, really easy, and it could be done in just a couple of minutes. However, if you don't want to do that, you can always use the smaller bucket, fill it with water, and just dump it in, but that's a lot of unnecessary work. And honestly, if you're going to be following my homesteading tips, you're going to want the shower head on a hose for a lot of different purposes. Okay, another tip that may come in handy, next to the shower here, I keep dish soap. So any dish soap that is a degreaser will come in really handy. Most of the time you're not going to need it for laundry, but if you're out working on your car, fixing the chain on your bike, anything that's going to get really bad grease in your clothes, this is going to help you get the stain out. So if you do have really greasy clothes, 1 drop, and I emphasize 1 drop, do not use more than 1 drop. 1 drop of Dawn dish soap or a generic, you can see I use the store brand there. 1 drop in your laundry instead of the laundry soap will actually get the grease out, but then you want to do another run through with actual laundry soap. The other thing is, the soap that I choose to use. Right here for this video, I'm showing you dollar store laundry soap with built-in fabric softener. Now, I'm very picky about my clothes. I like them to get super clean. Until I started making my own homemade laundry soap, I always used Tide. At some point, I will post another video of the laundry soap that I make and how to make it, but I'm not ready to make another batch right now. So when I'm ready, I will make that video. In the meantime, One of the things you're going to run into a lot with washing your laundry at home is figuring out the balance between laundry soap and fabric softener. If you don't get that balance right, your clothes are either going to be stiff as a board or they are going to itch like crazy. So buying something where the laundry soap already has liquid fabric softener in it is going to save you a lot of headaches. Also, this particular soap, my plug for it, the whole reason I have it in the house wasn't actually for doing laundry originally. If you saw my video on how to get grime and nasty stuff and old paint off of concrete, this is the soap that I used as the base in that video. So it is, believe it or not, strong enough to get paint off of concrete. So it is strong enough to clean your clothes. So if you're looking for a cheap alternative, that works. And I would recommend about maybe 1 tablespoon of this soap per load of laundry in your bucket system. So 1 bottle for about $1.25 is going to last you a really, really long time, and your clothes will get clean. Yeah, and then of course, if you wanted to use my homemade laundry soap, you would just use half that amount, so about 1/2 tablespoon. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I will get back to you with my next video soon. Have a good day.